What's up, everybody? It's Hoya Rock from the one and only Madball and Smoking Word podcast. In my hands right now, I got that new LP from my boys in Terror. The record is called Pain into Power.
I believe in these days of brotherhood.
10 brand new songs produced by Todd Jones, the artwork by Spoiler. It drops on May 6th on Pure Noise Records in the US and on N Hits Records in Europe. Hardcore lives. You know the deal.
Long time to even the score. Still dedicated to hardcore.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by From Within Records, episode 9 of the From Within Records podcast featuring Greg Falchetto. Good friend of mine, is out now. If you're not subscribed, please go subscribe to their podcast. Shout out to Jake, Dylan, and Carter for doing that awesome podcast. Also, Warn, Human Work, second pressing. Please mark your calendars. They will be available on May 20th. Limited to 200, and they will be on a random color, so pick one up while you still can. Those will go fast. I know a lot of people didn't get a chance to get the first pressing because it sold out, so this is your next opportunity. Please don't miss out. This summer, Shackled, Doubt Surrounds All in the USA. I'm super pumped for them to hit California. I love Shackled. Please catch them in a city near you this summer. Also, Warn will be hitting the US. They're also going on a summer tour. They will be in California in July, and I'm so excited. I love that band so much. Shout out to Dan. And if you're not following From Within Records on social media, please boot up your Twitter, your Instagram, click that follow button and stay up to date on all the current news. And like I always say, please support From Within Records because they support us. And if you're looking for high quality merch for your band, for your business, for whatever, please go hit up my friends over at Good Fortune Printing. You can follow them on Instagram at Good Fortune Printing. You can also get in contact with them at contact@goodfortuneprinting.com. They do amazing work. They print merch for a lot of your favorite bands. They print my merch. And I am very satisfied. I'm a satisfied customer. So shout out to Good Fortune Printing out of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. On today's episode, we had to track down our good friend Tyler. Super knowledgeable when it comes to the Elden Ring. He plays in a band called Means of Survival. You may have heard their new EP that is out now. Go boot up your Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Bandcamp, whatever, and go stream No Dice by Means of Survival. Super awesome. I am a huge supporter of that band, not just because my friend Tyler is in it, but because it is awesome music. So do yourself a favor, hit pause right now, go boot up your, like I said, your Spotify, your Bandcamp, Apple Music, Tidal, and thank me later because No Dice, front to back, is an awesome EP. But it was such a pleasure for me to track down Tyler, catch up with him. He's a good friend, and I hope all of you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. So please strap in, and without further ado, welcome Tyler to the show. All right, we're live. Welcome back to the podcast. Tyler, how's it going?
Not bad, bro. Thank you for having me back. I'm stoked to do it again.
No, this is awesome. It's cool to have stayed in touch over the years, and it's cool to have been able to see you in person a couple times. Luckily I was able to fly out to the East Coast, this year and be able to see some cool bands and you be there in attendance. So I'm happy to, have you back and happy to have this friendship continue.
Dude, of course. A good time. Fucking, what was it? The show in Wilkes-Barre or Wilkes-Barre?
Yeah. I always say, I mean, everybody says it different. I would just say Wilkes-Barre. But yeah, saw you there, which was awesome. And then, saw you a bit, after that at, what was the last time, FYA?
Yeah, FYA.
Mm-hmm. Which was, always a good time. I always loved traveling out to Florida for that fest.
Yeah, that was my first one, like going to ever, let alone playing it, but it was super fun, man. I stayed over at, two members of Not One Truth. They kind of offered to let me stay with them like the whole duration of the fest, and I just kind of winged it because like I didn't really go down with like a ton of plans.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just gonna ask around and see if I could crash with somebody. I was gonna try to stay at a member of Final Rate's house, but that fell through, so they let me stay with them. So shout out to them. I was just talking to them recently. They're actually coming to Poughkeepsie, so I got to pay them back somehow.
Hell yeah.
Show.
I was able to meet Colin from Not One Truth more recently. Super nice guy.
Yeah, he's like the one that set it up for me and let me stay there. It was their bass players, like Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
He like kind of made the connection. So, big shout out to them.
Yeah, I remember I went to Philly for the From Within Records showcase, and I was staying with Marty Williams and Bob Wilson. And Bob had picked me up from the airport, which I'm like always eternally grateful for. And he had mentioned like on the way to the house, he was like, "Hey, I'm not sure if you know him, but Colin from Not One Truth is going to be crashing with us too. So I hope that's chill." I'm like, "No, it's totally fine with me. Like, if he's your friend, he's my friend too." And I remember rolling up to the house, and just right off the bat, it's just super nice guy, just a very, very easy to get along with. So I'm
definitely crazy. Because like, if that's the same house I'm talking about, like that's the one I stayed at, because I met Marty Williams for the first time there, so I knew he stayed there, but we may have just missed each other then. That's that's funny.
Yeah, but okay, well, that's cool. And for anyone who's curious, there's a Not One Truth podcast coming up very soon, and it should be an interesting one, but we'll get back to that later. But other than that, you mentioned it was your first time going up to FYA. Like, what was the rest of the experience like? Like, how'd you like the venue? Because I'm always such a fan of that place. That was the second time they've done it there. Yeah,
no, it was mind blowing. I will say, I'm not a straight edge person, so I was pretty hammered the entire duration of that fest.
Mm-hmm.
I missed a bunch of bands that I really wanted to see, unfortunately, just because of being hungover and not getting up in time to see them. So that sucked. I missed Despise, which was awful.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, that I wanted to see Despise and Declination. Most people really wanted to see them. I feel like out of all the bands, just because, where they're from, you never know if we're going to see them again anytime soon. So missing them was a bummer, but I really got to enjoy some of the bigger band sets. Like Mind Force was super cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a fun time seeing them at like a festival level venue. Vane was amazing. Kind of scratched that itch and not seeing them in a minute. But yeah, all the sets that I did get to see were great, and we ended up going to like some goth nightclub or some crazy
Castle.
Yeah. It was like, so I was there till like 3 a.m. A fun time. Definitely a fun experience. I don't know about you or anybody else, I got sick at that show. So I came back, and my old band was supposed to play with Despise, and everybody else was fine except me. So they just 4-pieced it without me. So I missed Despise on 2 counts, which sucks. But
and you say got sick, like normal sick, or
no, I got the itis. Everybody got the itis, man.
Oh wow. I made it out okay, and honestly, I was prepared. I was like, okay, well, we're going to this fest, and there's gonna be a lot of people there. There's definitely a chance that it could happen again, because I got COVID back in like early 2021. So So I was like, all right, let's put these boosters and vaccine shots to work. But luckily, yeah, I walked away fine. But that sucks to hear that you didn't get away healthy.
A lot from what I've heard, at least a lot of people in the Hudson Valley got it. But my symptoms, like honestly, man, I knew something was different because like I have bad like nasal problems, just like intrinsically and genetically. So like postnasal drip and stuff like that. Like I got sick as a kid a lot. Then I had my like tonsils and adenoids removed, which is supposed to help it, and it did. But like immediately I could tell something was different. Like I wasn't really, I'm vaccinated, but I don't have the booster. So I'm sure like that helped to some extent. But yeah, the symptoms were like totally different from anything that I felt, but I didn't really feel sick. I just felt like I was like hot and warm, whatever, for a few days, but I could tell it was different. I was like, oh, I might as well, just play it safe and go get tested. And they're like, yeah, you do. And then I tested negative a couple days after. So I definitely had like probably one of the best experiences that you could have with it. I feel like, I don't know. It wasn't too bad for me.
And that was your first time
getting it? Yeah. I've never gotten it before, which is weird.
Yeah. It's definitely strange because like everybody always says, like it affects everyone different, but happy to hear that you got like a mild version, were able to not have to suffer too much.
Yeah, no, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I was super worried, but made it out.
Okay. And I have to ask, because I know a lot of people are curious, but you briefly mentioned Final Right. Last I heard, supposed to play From Within Record Showcase, had to drop. Any news there?
Yeah, we had to break up. It just wasn't working out. We had to part ways with a member of the band. But it was super fun. I've been playing in it for pretty much since the band came out, or a few months after, when I had joined. But it just like the whole premise of the band was really cool because it was like a band for our singer, and people were just joining and not replacing, but like it was meant to be replaced. Like members were meant to be replaced in the band, and it just couldn't work out. We just had some personal problems, and it is what it is. It sucks, but I wish everybody the best. I'm doing a new band with a member of Final Right, and that's coming out. Well, by the time this drops, it'll be out, but that's coming out this Friday. So I'm stoked on that. But yeah, definitely, it's a bummer because we put a lot of work into it, and to say goodbye to it was pretty hard, but I had to do it.
Yeah, I was definitely bummed because that I had been a fan of Final Right, and to see you guys start to catch steam and do more stuff, it was cool. But then you guys had to drop the show, which I don't think I've ever talked about this publicly, but we were supposed to do a collab shirt, which I was so stoked on because
I know. When you hit me up, I was like, yes.
Yeah, I was so stoked on, and granted, I like a lot of the stuff that I've done has been Disney, maybe by chance because of the band having to do with Disney stuff or at the fest. But your shirt was going to be the first one that was going to be like non-Disney. It was such a cool design, and it was being done by like a great friend. But as soon as I got word I had to pull the plug in, I was definitely bummed when I had to reach out to you about that and telling you that let's pull the plug. But it sucks. But maybe in the future with the new band we'll get to right now, maybe we can do something in the future.
For sure. Yeah, no, I hope that'd be cool. It was, we had some shows planned or like already scheduled after we had to part ways with the member. But we ended up just playing those and finishing out. One of our friends, Tommy, filled in for us. He filled in for us at the FYA after show. So shout out to him. He plays in Ill Communication from Connecticut.
Ilcom, yeah.
He helped us out really big time with that. So
okay, and I guess we can talk about this new band. I'm just curious, Means of Survival. How long has this band been in the works?
It's been in the works literally before In Cold Blood came out, the Final Right EP. Probably like months before that. I was just writing a bunch of music that I kind of wanted to use for Final Right, but it really wasn't. Like, the more I kept listening to it, I was just like, I'd rather probably just do something else with this. It's in D standard, which is Final Right's tuning, but the riffs just sound a bit different. I really only wrote part of one song on the EP, so that really wasn't a lot of me. But I really wanted to do something different with it, and I showed it to Tony Carogna, who plays guitar, and he was kind of agreeing with me, and that we should start like something else. He's crazy; he's in like 7 bands. But yeah, we kind of just decided then, and our old, well, not our old friend, but we got a drummer, Joe, who has played in bands with Tony for years. He actually played drums for a weekender that Final Right did before the lineup changed. And then we didn't really have a singer, so we just jammed musically and instrumentally for super long, like 6-7 months. And I had 2 songs done, and then we turned around. Tony wrote 2 songs, so we pretty much had an EP worth of material done, and we're just like contemplating on finding a singer. So like we keep asking people around, either somebody can't do it or too busy, or just won't work out for whatever reason. So I texted the old singer of Prime, my pretty much like first band that I was in. I know he wasn't super keen on doing anything musically from the last time I spoke to him, but I just shot him like a message. I was like, yo, like, you want to sing on anything new? Like, we have a new demo. It's me and Tony and Joe. And he was like, oh, yeah, I love all those guys. And definitely send me the music. I'll check it out. And I sent it to him. And it was kind of like a no-brainer for him to sing on it, because like we've already been in a band together. He knows them all.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like one of my favorite singers, like from around here at least. So he said yes, and I was like super stoked. He actually didn't say yes at first, but then he thought about it and said yes afterwards. And yeah, that's pretty much how it happened. Then he started practicing with us, and yeah, that's it.
That's pretty interesting to hear that you were asking people to sing in the band, and it just wasn't working out. Because I feel like a lot of people would like kind of jump at that opportunity.
We asked like two people.
Mm-hmm.
I think one was the singer of a band from around here called Lurch. They were around for a couple of years, I think. I didn't really know the guy at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think he said he liked it. He was too busy. I forget. We asked like 2 other people. I don't even remember who, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm glad it worked out the way it did, because I love being in a band with him. It's fun. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially when you're already familiar with these people and you kind of know how they work, so it's not having to like adjust and try to get this chemistry going.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
And who did you guys record? Is it so you guys are just calling it an EP?
No, well, I wanted to call it a demo and just put it out as a demo, but
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody came up with the name. Tony wrote or came up with all the song names. The singer, there's 2 Tonys,
Mm-hmm.
but Tony's the singer and Tony's also a guitar player. Tony Z and Tony C. But Tony Z, the singer, came up with all the tracks, like the names, and he wanted to call it No Dice, which is like kind of like slang for no chance.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, I didn't really want to call it that, but they were all pretty set on it, so I kind of said, all right, that's cool.
For sure. And well, hopefully by now people have checked out the new tracks. I'm definitely a huge fan of it. I was actually surprised at how much I liked it, because sometimes when I listen to a new band, it doesn't always click right away. It'll take me like a few listens, or maybe I'll check it out and put it off and just have to revisit it because maybe I'm not feeling it at that time. But like right away when I listened to the new tracks, I was like, damn, this is actually really awesome. I'm like super into it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's more like mid-paced, more moshy. Not that any band that we've been in before hasn't been moshy, but for a band that our singer has kind of done, they've for the most part been like a bit more straightforward, less mosh parts, more fast parts, kind of weird parts here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So we really it was important for him. He really wanted to try like something different vocally. And especially like I'm actually singing, I do a few parts on the record as well. And that's like something he wanted to try too, is like if we do like different members singing in intermittently in certain parts and how that would sound. And I think it came out pretty cool. But yeah, it's like something out of our element, and we really wanted to try something like that. So I hope people like it. I mean, I like the music. I like it a lot. So
Yeah, no, I think people are going to be definitely into this stuff, and obviously a big reason having you on is to help promote the music. So I'll definitely do my part and help spread as much as I can. But the music is good. It definitely speaks for itself. So me posting it is fine, but it'll gain its own traction, no problem, in my opinion.
Means a lot.
But so having to start a new band, right? Because obviously it's your last band. You guys were already getting some notoriety, playing shows, doing cool stuff. Is it kind of disheartening to have to start over, or is it just fun to play new music again?
That's a good question. I was thinking about that the other day. I think the thing that's intimidating is kind of like the duration that I was like in my old band was like, it feels like a long time, it was like 3 or so years. And that's like the part that sucks, because the band went through a lot and like the progression was very drastic. And, it's just hard to envision where a new band that I'm doing right now will be at that time, if people don't like it, whatever the case is. It's kind of hard. I guess you just got to see how it plays out, really. But I don't want to overthink on it too much.
Yeah, and you can't really be like, hey, all of our old fans, come check out this new stuff and expect
it sounds nothing alike.
Yeah, and not everyone's gonna find it at the same time. People are gonna discover it on their own time, so it's gonna have to grow over time to get back to where you were, and hopefully get to the next level with it. But I think it's possible as long as you guys are able to keep together and just stay consistent. I think you guys will be fine.
Yeah, I think it's going to be cool. I think there's also a cool amount of newer bands coming up from here. Most of them are pretty much just members or old members of Final Right. War Crimes, which Tony's also in, the guitar player, and Torture Chamber, who is just all members of Hudson Valley bands. So it's going to be cool to come up like with everybody. It's a good plethora and a good style, because every band sounds pretty different that's coming up right now, at least from our area. So, probably start trying to play more local shows and surrounding shows with that kind of package. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. I feel like it's really important to have that hometown support. I know it's not always easy, right? Especially if like something's new and people aren't really hip to it. They could feel afraid and not really want to show that support because they don't know if it's cool or not or whatever. Right. But I think it's cool that there's like this new crop of bands coming up in your area and you guys can all kind of grow up at the same time.
Yeah, I know for sure. I know the couple other ones I mentioned were I think they were quarantine projects or demos, whatever you'll call them. Like they just did them over quarantine. They actually kind of worked on them, but it's cool to like, a product from having like a negative thing like COVID happened to like having a current new band now that can be sick. I just think it's cool. Just like people made something out of a bad thing,
I think, Pain the Truth is one of those bands, right? They came out during the quarantine and they just exploded, but well deserved. I love that band, love the people in the band, but it's really cool to see the record come out during the pandemic, and then once the doors open for shows coming back, that band has just gotten so much great success, and they're on tour with Terror right now, and it's just really cool to see that people can recognize real hardcore, especially from people who are working really hard at it, because it's not easy to it's cool you put a band together, put out cool music, but when it gets to the aspect of having to hit the road and do all these tours, it's not easy. So for them to be able to keep it together and hit the road really hard, and they've been to the West Coast, they're playing all over the US, they're heading over to Europe, so it's really cool to see a band like that kind of flourish now.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, War Crimes, one of the other Hudson Valley bands coming up now. I filled in for them in Long Island. I believe it was supposed to be Terror and Age of Apocalypse on the bill. But I think there were like last minute changes. It was like in the time period when COVID was having another like scare, like kind of after FYA. And they shifted the lineup around, and then they asked War Crimes to play Pain of Truth, and we went down there and played it. And the singer had told us, he like came up to us and like, when did this start? And it was like, oh, just like over quarantine. I was like, yep, same here. So it's cool, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And it just shows, just if you're willing to take, opportunities and work hard, like you can definitely get places, especially with a brand new band.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Ridge from Pain of Truth actually did the artwork for Means of Survival.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, Ridge does a lot of cool stuff. He works really hard, and it's always cool to hear and see his stuff out in the wild.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've actually never met him, but Tony went on tour with Pain of Truth and AOA. So he recommended him, and we saw the influences, and I'm a huge fan of all the work. It's all elite, top tier level stuff. So he crushed it. I can't wait for people to see the artwork. It's actually I gave him all the references that I had in mind, and he crushed those. But also, it reminds me of Elden Ring, which I did not say to him. But you'll see what I mean. You've already seen it, so you could probably like make that basis.
Yeah, and I love that. That's why I love working with certain artists, because I can just give them like, here's my general idea, and they just take it to a whole nother level, and I'm just like, wow, that's why I come to you, because you're so amazing at what you do. And so it's cool, because I've been in situations before where you have to keep going back and forth, so these adjustments, whatever. And obviously, like, I get it, like, you want it to be to your standard, because you're obviously paying for it. But when I don't have to go like back and forth a bunch of times with an artist, when they can just, what it seems like, kind of peek into my brain and see exactly what I want, it definitely makes things a lot easier. Yeah,
no, it was cool, man. I gave him some like kind of out of left field. I gave him like bands and artist recommendations, like I gave him a Withstand demo cover, some like Undertow record covers. We all love Undertow, and that was like a big influence like we were trying to go for. And I also gave him like Metal Gear Solid old PS2 game layouts, and it's just like, I feel like it took influences from all those things and like did like a modern twist I wasn't expecting, but it's in the best way possible. So yeah, definitely.
And last thing on the band, the demos out, are you guys trying to play a lot of shows right away, or are you guys just kind of taking things slow, since one of the Tonys is in a bunch of other bands?
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword, because he's literally in like both other bands that I mentioned that are coming out right now, and he's in like a bunch of other ones that aren't active but I think are still a band, technically speaking. But yeah, I mean, we're going to try to play everything that we can. Joe, the drummer of Means of Survival, is also in War Crimes with Tony. So he's as busy as he is when it comes to playing shows for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, double band bills, whatever, we'll try to make it work. But yeah, if you want to have us in a Northeast surrounding town or city, hit me up.
All right. Well, I'll put the bat signal out there for people to, hit you up to book your new band. But also, will there be any merch?
Yes. Well, there's going to be tapes. So there's going to be physicals. I think you've had Luke Cave on your podcast before.
Shout out Iron Sight Records.
Yeah. So we sent it to a bunch of people. Words of Fire was initially going to do one, but then he had some outliers come up, so he couldn't. So I started asking. I met Luke on tour with Final Right, and he's just like the coolest dude.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, what do you feel about this? I sent him it. I literally sent him it like last week. He was like, dude, this is sick. But like, I actually have like 2 other bands coming out the same day. And I was like, you want to do 3? And he was like, fuck yeah. So that's sick. His packaging and the work for being like a brand new quote unquote label. It's like his packaging work and the tapes is really solid for being like super, super fresh.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I still haven't seen the layout yet, but I'm sure he's going to kill it.
100%. Yeah. I love Luke. Shout out Strangle You. Shout out First Day Out. Shout out Iron Sight Records. Shout out Atlanta Hardcore. Luke's and his crew over there. They're doing a lot of stuff for the scene out there in Atlanta, and it's definitely cool to see. And I'm happy to hear that you're working with him, because I'm a friend of Luke's, and he's a great guy. So it's cool to hear.
And definitely, like you said, they do a lot. I've never been to, when we were on tour, we went down and played like the Doghouse, like their venue.
Mm-hmm.
And that place is literally run by hardcore kids. Like it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was built by like a drummer of a band that's like affiliated with all those Atlanta bands.
Mm-hmm.
And like you don't really see that. You know what I mean? Like it's very hard. I've never seen that at a venue before. Literally, like you just pull up. This place is in the dead end of a suburb, and it looks like an abandoned building with like a built stage and like a sub room too. So if you want to book a big show, or you can book a small show, and it's like all done by the kids down there. So it's like shout out to them. Like that's like such a cool thing. I usually be proud of that. It's so cool.
100%, because it takes a lot of responsibility. Like the idea of having your own venue, for mainly hardcore bands, it's cool in theory, but when you get down to like the logistics and the amount of work that it takes to put into it, I think that's why you don't really see it that often. So for those kids out there in Atlanta to have something like that, I think it's special, and I hope it's something that the local kids out there like truly respect and appreciate, like while it's around.
Yeah, no, it's super cool, man. Like there was a bunch of Atlanta bands that played with us over the first day. One was Luke's band. But yeah, it was awesome. If you're around that area, definitely start going there. Like it's so cool.
Okay. But outside of tapes, I was more curious about like maybe like a t-shirt or a hoodie.
They're definitely coming. I have an idea. Are you a Metal Gear Solid fan at all?
I am, but I'm so like, I'm so torn about that series because of just the way, or like the state of it right now. Because it's technically not like.
It's a dead game. 100%.
Yeah, because it's just whack. Like I don't know. Like obviously, like I think like the first 3 were amazing, and like 4 was cool, but I don't know. 5 was just really weird, and then there's like that other one after that, which I don't even know what it was called, which I didn't even play.
Yeah, Survive. Yeah, that was like Kojima's departure. Yeah, Survive sucked. I never played it, but just judging off of what people have said and what I've seen, it's terrible.
Yeah, well, even playing 5, I was like, what happened to this series?
Like 5 was, I think the gameplay was really solid. The amount of options and versatility that you could use just readily at your disposal was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like you could definitely tell that the story was just cut. Like it was gutted, and like there was a lot of weird kind of like mind fuck things that didn't really fit even in Kojima's sense, like the whole Moby Dick theme where like Snake or Big Boss has like a shadow that you're playing as or vice versa. It was just very, even for Kojima's standard, it felt kind of like out of the blue and cheap to put it in.
Mm-hmm.
And also you're going to get me going because I'm a very big Metal Gear Solid fan, but there's no cinematics in that game that are worth watching. Like there's like maybe 1 or 2 ones where if you go to Metal Gear Solid 4, that whole game is like a movie.
Yeah.
And I love that stuff. Like you can not like that stuff, but like when I go to Metal Gear Solid, I want to watch a movie.
Yeah, that's what it was known for, right? It's like there's these like long ass cutscenes that were so interesting, and you were so involved in the story because it was so good, and then you're like, oh fuck, I have to play for like 30-40 minutes to the next cutscene, and it wasn't like a drag. Like the only time that I ever like stressed out was like when I needed to save, if I had to like go out and do something. I'm like, fuck, I'm still in the middle of this cutscene, so I would just hit pause, and I just hope that nobody would trip over like my PlayStation cord or unplug my shit or something weird, and then it would be there when I get back. But no, like that, I totally enjoyed that part because it was a different experience because even graphically, like I felt like they always did like such a good job with the hardware at the time to make for a good experience.
Yeah, for sure. No, yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4 was like one of my favorites. But yeah, and 5 had some cool connections. Like Liquid Snake, or Liquid Snake is in Metal Gear Solid 5 as like Eli. So when he was like a little baby, just being cloned, which I thought was like a cool connection. I forget the name of the boss, but there's like a flaming boss that is that's actually Colonel Volgin from Metal Gear Solid 3, like an after image of him or something, which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of wins back some brownie points. But other than that, story wise, it's kind of all over the place. And Ocelot looks cool in that game, so.
Yeah, but it's also one of those things where you look at that company, and to have someone like Kojima, right, who's legendary, who's like once in a generation, because I can't even think of anybody who's that legendary, who's had that kind of impact on the industry, who's had those kind of crazy ideas come to life, and to make a franchise like Metal Gear. It's crazy to think that a company like Kojima, or excuse me, like Konami, would let him go, but then obviously we don't know the real inner workings of their relationship. So I'm just so curious, like, how did it get to the point where it had him leave, and that whole franchise, something where like the whole industry would always look forward to the next Metal Gear, because it was always fun, and it was always pushing the limit to what an action adventure game could be.
Right.
But to see him have to part ways, it was just like, damn, this is crazy. And everybody kind of saw the writing on the walls, right? This is like definitely going to mark like the end of Metal Gear, because what's a Metal Gear without its creator?
Nothing.
Exactly. So
as we have been shown.
And it sucks too, because you don't want that to be what your franchise is remembered for, because when you look back at something like my favorite Metal Gear is Metal Gear Solid 2, to look at something like that, because obviously like the hype from Metal Gear Solid 1, and then you go to number 2, and that was like a whole nother thing, crazy story, new character.
Yeah.
But now it's just like, yeah, it's just dead in the water. Like it's so tarnished because of the relationship between Konami and Kojima, and what happened after he left, with like the weird games that they put out that weren't anywhere near the level of what Metal Gear Solid should be. It's just it's sad.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a bummer. And like you said, the writing was definitely on the wall. Like, people could tell it was coming. Did you? I was actually playing, or not playing this, but I was watching it the other day just to remind myself on how good it was. Did you ever play PT, Playable Teaser?
Yo, so I owned what was it, PS3 or PS4? I can't remember.
I think I actually never played it because it got off the market.
Oh, really? Okay, I want to say it was PS3, or maybe my time is on. And let me look this up, because I'm tripping out right now, because I can't remember, because it feels so long ago.
It does.
Let's see. Hold on, I'm looking at 2014. I'm trying to. No, it was on PlayStation 4. Yeah, definitely PlayStation 4. But I remember, because I love, horror games. I'll never forget being in the Walmart in La Quinta with my mom, and I just saw the cover of Resident Evil Director's Cut and just begging her to buy it for me. I didn't even know what it was. I just saw zombies and it looked crazy. And even the guy at Walmart was like, "Oh, this is like rated mature. Are you sure you want to buy it for him?" Because I was like in the third or fourth grade. My mom didn't care. She was like, "Yeah, like shouldn't be that bad. It's a video game." So like that was like where my love for like these survival horror games started. And these days to play a game in that genre, like, you don't really get too scared or creeped out, right? Like it's not like how it was back in the day, even though they've tried. But when I heard rumors of this like PT thing floating around, I was like, I don't know, it seems like it's going to be full of like hype and not that scary. And I remember I had downloaded it, and I was like out or whatever, and I got home at probably like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I was like, all right, let me fire up this PT demo and see what the hype's about. So I'm like sitting in the dark, and I have like headphones in. I think I was wearing earbuds at the time, and I was like, all right, like let's play this. And the second that I realized that like it's like a loop, right? Like you go through it and you come back and something else is a little different. I was like, this is fucking creepy. And it creeped me out so much that I didn't even finish it the first time that I sat down and played it, because I was like, okay, this actually got me. This is like back I looked at the date when it came out, so it was like 2014-ish. I was like, how is it that I'm this old and this game is creeping me out this much? I was like, fuck this. So I turned it off, and I waited to the next day to play it like in the middle of the day, so I wasn't as creeped out. And I finished it. And there's all those rumors, oh, this is like a tech demo for like the next Silent Hill or whatever. But I thought they nailed it. That was another bummer too, that we didn't get to see that come out, because that tech demo was really fun. It looked and felt super scary, and I definitely dug the vibes.
Yeah, it was like all the videos look so insane. Like I'm so bitter about not playing it because like I guess I wasn't really as into like his games at the time. Oh, that's not really true. But I don't know, for whatever reason I never downloaded it. And I never got to play it, and like they took it off of the marketplace because of the like I guess he just departed, and they cut ties, and it never, like I don't know, there's like a licensing disagreement or something. They took it down. And then Death Stranding came out, which I did play. And did you play that?
I have it on Steam. I played it, and I went into it because I played it late, right? Because it was on PlayStation for a long time before it came to Steam. But once I got it on Steam, I kind of already heard like the chatter about it, and if I'm being honest, I played it and it was okay. Like it definitely, you know, obviously you could tell it was a Kojima game, but I can't knock it too much, right? Because I felt like this is a guy who thinks outside the box and wants to take chances and try different stuff. Because he could easily just done his cookie cutter thing and made something similar to Metal Gear. Yeah. Which, you know, there's like definitely a lot of similarities in Death Stranding to Metal Gear. Like if you played Metal Gear, played Death Stranding, like it would feel very familiar.
Characters kind of are reminiscent.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, like he was so known for these like you know, these like espionage type games, you know, filled with action, and to present something in a different way, because there's a ton of action in Death Stranding, but you know, but it's just not the same type of action you would find in a Metal Gear game that I thought a lot of people were expecting, because that's what he had done for so long, and you know, this is his first game post Metal Gear. I try not to knock it too hard, because I would rather someone take a chance on something new that they wanted to do versus them just doing something that they're told to do over and over again, you know?
I think you hit the nail on the head pretty much in like my opinions on that game. I actually never finished it. I played like halfway through, and it didn't really grab it wasn't grabbing my attention as much as I hoped it would. Mm-hmm. I think the game's biggest problem is like the emptiness factor. Is like there's a lot of open environments with not too much off of the beaten path. But yeah, overall I enjoyed the game. I need to go back and finish it.
Same here. I definitely want to give him that respect just to finish the game. But yeah, I feel like mentally you have to be tough to play that game, because it just seems like you're just right off the bat just grinding to, you know, and not like not grinding levels, but to get from one area to the next. Like they make it tough just because you know, it's far, you know, in game, like from one place to the next, it definitely is far, and all the obstacles they present depending on where you're at in the game. So it's interesting. I'm not completely, like, you know, like I said, I'm not going to trash the game, but you know, good effort. You know, I gave my money for it, so I supported it that way.
But I guess going back to this is the idea for the shirt that I had.
Okay.
So
right.
on the demo cover, it's like a guy in chainmail with a katana or a sword, like close to his face. And I immediately thought of that. I was like, this could just be Raiden, like with a sword, or like Jack from Metal Gear Solid, like with a sword, like close to his face with a red eye, and say like means of survival. I really want to do that for the first year. Just have like Raiden, like do that sword of the demo, like the exact same pose, and just like have means of survival on top of it, and then have that be a shirt. I haven't even talked to them about that, but hopefully they say. None of them are into Metal Gear Solid whatsoever, so hopefully they say yes.
Doesn't matter, just do it. Such a sick idea.
Spoken into existence. It's happening right now.
Okay, awesome. And you know, having all this you know, talk about Metal Gear Solid, if I'm being honest, I didn't know you were into video games until I started seeing you post about Elden Ring. That kind of like opened my eyes to like, holy shit, Tyler actually plays video games. Like, how did I not even know this was a thing?
Yeah, no, I mean, there are like periods of my life where playing was infrequent. Right now, I've probably found a pretty good balance of like work and being able to play when I can, and just like doing band stuff, whatever else I'm up to. But yeah, I mean, Elden Ring, I've been a fan of the Souls games since Bloodborne.
Okay.
I'd say like Metal Gear Solid, I would say is probably one of my favorite. If I had to do like a top three, generally speaking, it'd be like Metal Gear Solid, Soulsverse, and probably Fallout.
Oh, Fallout. Respect. I fucking love Fallout.
Yeah. It's just like Fallout New Vegas specifically is one of my favorites
Oh,
ever.
interesting.
But yeah, Elden Ring. Yeah, we got a lot of talking to do about that game.
Okay, wait, hold on. Before we get into Elden Ring, I want to ask you about Fallout because I'm such a huge Fallout fan. Okay, New Vegas had a rough start for people who may not remember. When New Vegas came out, it was super fucking buggy and glitchy. It got like just a really bad rep right out the bat, and eventually over time they fixed that kind of stuff, which is cool. But I never beat it. That was I started it with Fallout 3 because that's like like amazing game. But I never beat New Vegas because of the bugged out issues in the beginning. So I skipped that one, and then I played 76, which I don't want to talk about. But Fallout's super sick. But okay, so you like New Vegas? That company, Obsidian, the people that make it, they made a newer game called not New World. That's
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds. There we go. I'm thinking of the Amazon MMO, but they made Outer Worlds. And did you get a chance to play that?
Yeah, no, I played Outer Worlds. It's funny you bring that up. I like, for whatever reason, I associate that game when Age of Apocalypse dropped The Way, like their EP, because like I bought and downloaded and played the hell out of that game when The Way came out. So like I was just playing that and listening to that EP like all day. I was like, fuck, this game is mad good. Like this EP is mad good. Like I don't know. I just like I associated that game with AOA's The Way for whatever reason. But yeah, it's great. It was like, I don't think I finished that game. I played it for like a week straight, like nonstop though. And I really liked it. I had like one critique of it that I can't remember. I probably have to revisit it, to be honest. But yeah, I liked it. Obsidian did a really good job with it.
Yeah. And I'm hoping now that, the fact that Microsoft owns Bethesda now, like they're all in house. I'm hoping that Obsidian, maybe if they want, I don't know if they want to, but I'm hoping that maybe they can get another opportunity to make another Fallout game, because I know that they wanted to, but for some reason the plug got pulled, and I think that's why they made Outer Worlds.
Yeah, probably. As much as I would like Fallout New Vegas 2, it probably just won't come to life. For whatever reason, just like that setting and that environment just like appealed to me so much more than 3. Like I know 3 is obviously a masterpiece in its own right, for sure. But I don't know, like just the environment, like the gambling, like the Wild West, man, just like, I don't know. New Vegas just scratched the itch. It's so sick. Yeah,
I think 3 hit at just a weird time in my life, because 3 came out and I had just like moved back in with my parents. I was unemployed, just kind of just down on my luck. Yeah. But I had Fallout 3. So like to not be so depressed with life, I just literally played Fallout 3 every day, all day, to the point where like I was so obsessed with that game. I was like reading like everything that I could about anything in that game. And I was having like lucid dreams about being in the wasteland. I was listening to 3 Dog Radio.
I was gonna say like 3 Dog out.
Yeah, it was this weird obsession, and like my parents were kind of worried about me. They're like, because like I used to go out to shows all the time. I used to hang out with my friends all the time, but I just was so embarrassed to be unemployed and just not have any money that I just didn't want to do anything or face anybody. But it got to the point where my parents were like, "Hey, like here's money, go do something," and I would just be like, "No, I don't want to do anything. I just want to, play this game." And they didn't understand because they don't know what Fallout is. But eventually, right? You beat all the expansions, and there's only so much you can do. Because that world stopped growing, and then eventually I got a job again, and then I just was like, all right, back to back to real life. I'm out here. It was a weird adjustment, but yeah, that game will always be special to me. Like, and that franchise too. Like Fallout 4 was fun. but I wasn't as obsessed as I was with 3. And even 76, I was like, oh, this is like such a cool idea. Like Fallout MMO would be better than a Pokemon MMO, and like I was like so adamant about that. But then I felt like 76 was just like executed wrong. So I get like all the flack that game gets, even though it's still going on, right? There's like a decent community, but I'm just not that big of a fan of it. So I'm hoping maybe at some point in the future we can get like a Fallout 5. Like there's an Outer Worlds 2 coming for sure, so that'll be cool. But I'm hoping maybe in the future we just get another proper Fallout, kind of have them return to form and kind of fix their image.
Yeah, like a proper, maybe with like multiplayer elements to it, but a proper single player game for sure.
Yeah, like I still would be open to a Fallout MMO, but I know that that's like a big undertaking, right? And it's very risky because if you look at the landscape of MMOs, if you're not Final Fantasy or WoW, you know it's rough because games
they've been staked. They've staked their claim for forever.
Yeah,
literally forever.
Because even if you look at like big franchises like Star Wars, right? If a big MMO like Star Wars can't sustain, they have to go to free to play, then they lose their player base and it just grows stale. Like come on, like you got to get the right people in control. Because even Final Fantasy 14, like that game almost tanked right out the gate, but they took that game and they're like, all right, like we got to get this whole new team, and they put in so much work that they turned that ship around. And it's literally like the last expansion, they had to stop selling copies because there were so many people trying to buy the game to play, and their servers were getting so flooded that they literally took the game off the market for a short period of time because there's like, we can't have new players, sorry, like go away.
Jeez, man! Holy crap!
Yeah, pretty wild. But yeah, like I said, if you're not Final Fantasy or WoW, it's definitely gonna be rough because you got people. I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 since like 2009.
Yeah.
So like, good luck trying to take someone away from something that they've invested so much time in and money, right? Not just time and money. 2 very important things that you can't really get back.
Yeah, I was super intimidated. I might some of my friends might make fun of me for this, but man, I've never played a Final Fantasy game in my life.
Whoa. What?
Yeah,
What?
Can't, like,
that's crazy.
I just like jumping into it is like very hard, it seems like, because there's so many. Like, where would you start? Like, what, like if you're a big, like, let me know, where would you start?
Okay, all right, hold on. All right, we got to try to set you down the right path. Okay, have you played RPGs at all in your life?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like, which ones have you played?
I mean, basic ones like Pokemon.
Okay.
Like maybe the old school. Are you familiar with like the Mario and Luigi games, like the old ones?
I like Super Mario RPG.
yeah, like that series. Like there's Superstar Saga. Like there's a bunch of different ones.
Okay.
But like simple Nintendo games like that.
Okay.
Fire Emblem, if you would consider that.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's like a tactics RPG. So
yeah. Like if I love Fire Emblem is probably like my favorite Nintendo series.
Oh wow, that's interesting. That's a good series that I don't hear a lot of people talk about. So
I love it. I for whatever reason, I know it's literally just like chess, but I loved it since I was a kid. But something about it. But yeah, just like entry level ones like that. I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but
okay. So it sounds like you played a lot of the turn-based ones.
Yeah.
Which is like which these days is more of like a kind of like a throwback style when it comes to an RPG, right. Because Final Fantasy stopped with the traditional turn-based. I'm gotta think Final Fantasy 12, like 11 doesn't count because that's their first MMO, but for your traditional Final Fantasy it was definitely 12 because 12 was it was like a simulated MMO. Like if you ever played like a dot hack or something like that, it was like an offline simulated MMO. So I'm pretty sure that one wasn't turn-based. Am I right with that? Who knows? I'm pretty sure I'm right with that one. But I think for you, like since you are so heavy with the turn-based and it wouldn't be too foreign, I honestly would suggest the classic Final Fantasy 7 that is like highly regarded. Like you can get that on what I see your PlayStation behind you. You can get it on your computer. You can get it on your phone. You can get it anywhere. So I would recommend starting there because I'm not sure if you know, but every Final Fantasy, it's like a different story. So you don't need to have played 7 to know about 9.
I did not. Literally all I know about it is the guy with the big sword.
Okay, yeah, that's Cloud from Final Fantasy 7. Yeah, so there are sequels, right? So Final Fantasy 10 was the first Final Fantasy to get a direct sequel. That's, Final Fantasy 10, and then there's the 10-2, and then you skip ahead to 13, and there's like 3 13s. There's like 13, and then like Lightning Returns, and I forget. I own them all, but I haven't played them all.
This is why.
No, it definitely is a lot, but I would suggest you jump in with 7, and if you like those vibes, you would like the series because because there's like a general vibe when it comes to a Final Fantasy.
I will do it.
Okay, awesome. And maybe. There's a 7 remake, which do I just say don't even play the original, play the remake since it's not as long. Still has the Final Fantasy vibe, and it's a little different. Maybe just go with the 7 remake.
On PlayStation first, or if I can get it on PC, I'll get it on PC.
It's not on PC yet. I think it's still PlayStation exclusive. Yeah, I think it's still PlayStation exclusive. So, just get the 7 remake. Yeah.
Will do.
Okay. All right. Well, that's crazy. I'm still tripping out that you never played Final Fantasy.
No, never.
Okay. Yeah. Play the remake. It's it'll serve the series justice, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it
for sure. And I like the art style. Like I've always liked the art style. Like it looks cool. I know one more, Sephiroth.
Yeah,
just the Smash Bros characters. Like that's all I know.
Smash, yeah. And Sephiroth, he's the main villain of Final Fantasy 7, so you're already familiar with that world. So yeah, so definitely start with 7, and then just kind of go from there.
That game is definitely like the staple, like where the main characters, like the flagships of the series came out for. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. So go there, and then we'll talk about that at a later time.
For sure.
But okay, so you mentioned your top 3, but I'm curious when you're getting introduced to Bloodborne, what drew you to that game? Because it sold like a decent amount of copies, very popular. Who knows if we'll ever get like a remake or a sequel? But I'm curious for someone like you, like how did you stumble upon a game like that? Because that's not your it's not your typical game. I feel like those games are very like it's like very unique and like a niche series.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I was like the furthest thing away from getting into that game series when I got introduced to it. I was in college up the road in Poughkeepsie called Dutchess Community, and a friend of mine in high school, we played games on and off together, going to school. And he messaged me. He's always like giving me recommendations and like what to get into or what to check out. And he was like, "Dude, you got to play this game, Bloodborne." I was like, "This is like the craziest, scariest game. It's so difficult." And I was just like, "Nah, I don't really care." I was like, "Nah, I don't really want. I want to play like a regular game." And he just kept drilling it into my head, and was finally I just caved in. I was like, "All right, like." May as well take a chance. And like I didn't really look that into it. Like I love Lovecraftian horror and like very dark, like Silent Hill-esque games, Resident Evil, whatever. And I didn't really know that game had those kind of themes and like dark horror. And I went and bought it, and like instantly I was just super drawn to like the whole art style. Just like Bloodborne is a masterpiece, man. It's like literally one of the best games you'll ever play. Just like to all the bosses, like Rom, the vacuous spider, like the first time fighting like that boss was just like mind blown. Because I don't know, you've played Bloodborne, right? Mm-hmm. So like before that fight, you're in like a church or a library area. I had no idea where to go, and then you have to just jump into a light in a hole in a pond. And like some guy tells you to do it, but I didn't know. Like I was just playing blind, but experiencing like if you're getting into the series, and if I could recommend you to play it blind first. Like don't look up anything, don't Google anything, just go in and see how you like it, and like make your own judgment and experience. And like games like that are so intricate. Once you beat it blind and you make your evaluation, go back and do all the shit that you missed. Because like there's so much, you know what I mean? Especially in Elden Ring, like there's so much.
100%. And I definitely do agree with that, because there was a long period of my gaming, I don't want to say career, but as long as I've been playing video games, and once like achievements and trophies got introduced, I felt like I was like, all right, how can I 100% this game first try? So I was always like so like hyper focused on getting all the trophies first try, and it definitely ruined a lot of games for me, because I was just like, I was like, oh, I got to do this thing to get this trophy, and that's all I cared about. But then more recently, I'm just like, those things are always going to be there. Like, let me just go through it and have fun the first time, and then we'll double back and go knock out and get all the trophies. And I feel like I've been able to enjoy things a lot more instead of having to want to show off my profile with these digital trophies that literally nobody cares about, right? Like,
I don't care. Everybody cares about trophies. I don't care.
Yeah. But it's like I think it's always this like thing when I was younger where I was like, man, like I beat Resident Evil with just the rocket launcher. That's like a stupid, that's a stupid achievement that would be out today. But I was like, I have no way of showing anybody. But now that I can show it off, I guess it was like this weird thing that I always wanted. But then it just kind of took over my life for a little bit. But but definitely I would highly recommend. Yeah, just play it and have fun. And then if you care enough, go back and get the trophies, because those things it's like a cool little like a little rush when you hear the little ding or whatever, you see it pop up on your screen. You're like, what the fuck is that? Like, why am I getting like rewarded? But it's cool.
Ending in Bloodborne, that was like a big. I got it, and I didn't Google it on my first time. So like I was just somehow I got the secret ending, and like did all the quest steps, and like getting that trophy is just like it's like I just did some sick shit.
Okay, well, so you played Bloodborne, and that game can be difficult, especially if you're new to the series. Was there any point where you're like, fuck, why is this so hard? I want to quit. This is bullshit.
Yeah. There's most of the bosses in that game are pretty memorable, but I was stuck early on like a not so memorable one, the Blood-Starved Beast. And like I think it's like the third boss in the game. I might be wrong. But I remember when I played through that, it would just like insta kill me every single time I entered. Like literally, I would just not do anything. It would pick me up and just like destroy me. And like I was getting pissed. Like me and the friend that recommended the game to me, and one of our other friends were doing like a race, like a competitive kind of thing, where we were just trying to see who could fucking finish it the fastest. And I was losing because of this boss. Like I just couldn't beat it. And then one day I just got super lucky and just like evaded those attacks and beat him. But yeah, fuck the Blood-Starved Beast, man.
Yeah. So it's a good feeling when you defeat those annoying bosses.
Yeah.
But okay, well that's cool to hear. You kind of find your entry into the series that way, and were able to stick around. The lead up to Elden Ring, I was like, all right, cool. This is like a whole new thing. There's like all the hype dealing with George R. R. Martin having like a hand in the game, which Game of Thrones was like an amazing thing. I know a lot of people give it flack for the last season, but I still enjoy it a lot. Because that was like honestly where I drew my interest in, because it was like, all right, cool, another Souls game, but this time it's gonna have like somebody involved that like I'm a huge fan of when it comes to their writing.
Yeah.
But I never realized how much of a pop culture thing Elden Ring was going to become, because it was massive. Dude, it came out. Yeah, and it's well deserved because it's a really fun game. Yeah. But I had like casual gamers of like friends of mine reach out that I didn't even think that was in their orbit. They were just like, hey, like, have you heard of this game called Elden Ring? And I'm like, yeah, like I'm literally playing it. Like, what's up? And they were just asking for like if it was a good idea, if they should buy it. And I told them, I'm like, yeah, it's a good game. Like I would recommend it, but just be wary that it's not going to be easy. So you're definitely going to get frustrated, but just don't give up. And they're like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting, but cool, like we'll do it. But the fact that I had just like, you know, these casual gamers reach out about it, I'm like, that's crazy that you even know about that. But then seeing how, you know, how popular it is, it's crazy. But it's also really cool too, because I feel like for that genre to get that kind of hype, I think it's cool, because all the games that have come before Elden Ring, you know, are just as fun. So I'm happy to see that it kind of like, you know, grow to this like giant thing that it is.
Yeah, no, I'm super stoked, and just like the whole build up, and like I remember I like knew it was going to be like an amazing game very early on. Like there are a lot of people out there who's like, oh, this is gonna tank, like this, you know, this is just gonna be Dark Souls 2.0, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I think it was like a week before the game came out, the like official band, like social media, or not band, game social media account, they posted like, with this guidance in mind, take this new journey with us. And it's just all these publishers and like publications, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. I was just like, I was like, I've never seen a game like market like that, where just everybody is calling it a masterpiece, like 10 out of 10s across the board. And that just like made my hype sky. I feel like that made everybody's hype skyrocket. Like when they dropped that, it was just like, it was done. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely falls pretty. And that being said, there's still a lot of haters that like aren't into it, like that are like veteran players that just like, they just don't like it. And like, it'll be on their very bottom tier list of like the ranking of the Souls games. But it's probably like 3 or 2 for me. I love Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3. I would say like Elden Ring is like, I can't even put an order of them, but like Dark Souls 3, Elden Ring, and Bloodborne in no particular order.
Okay, yeah, it's all interchangeable, just a solid top 3. Yeah. I you know, it had been a while because I hadn't played any of those games. Like the last one that I played that was kind of in that realm was a Sekiro, which is you know, people like to compare it. You know, it's supposed to be like a Tenchu game, which is fine, but I remember just having that nice familiar feeling when like logging in and playing Elden Ring, and I'll never forget just getting out of like that first tutorial area, just getting into Limgrave for the first time, and just kind of looking around, and it just made me think, like, why can't every game be this massive and awesome, and like just like the amount of like detail that goes into this. I was like, sometimes I feel gypped when I can pay, you know, my $60 to get a product like Elden Ring, but then I'll, you know, pay $60 for another thing. And I get it, there's levels to this, but it's just like, damn, like I wish everybody worked as hard as, you know, FromSoft.
Yeah, no, it's definitely crazy. And you think it's like really, really big when you first start, and then you like get teleported to like the top of the map. Mm-hmm. And like you're not even close to where you know what I mean? Like it just skyrockets you to like a tan part of the map, and you have no idea where you are. But it's like 1,000 meters where you originally were. It's like insane.
Yeah, and then you realize there's like also like an underground, which you're like, what the hell? Yeah, this is
entire underground catacomb. Like there's a freaking tornado city at the end of the game. It's like crazy. I'm getting the boss of Crumbling Firm. Have you beaten the game?
No, I wanted to tell you this story. So I started the game, like my first playthrough is like mage class. I'm trying to figure out what kind of build I did. I was just using a lot of like as soon as Moonblade. Do you know that? Oh yeah, excuse me, Adula's, and then like a rock sling all day. I felt like I was like the spell that I used the most throughout that game, and I got all the way to Melania, and I was like level, I think like 134. I was like this should be okay because nobody's really giving me trouble, you know, this far. So I get to her, and she wrecks me, right? For anybody who's you know, fought against her, she can be pretty tough, and I think I just got kind of frustrated. I was like, I don't like this play style because it is the first time that I'd ever played a mage class in this game. So I was like, and I wanted to try something different. So like, do I really want to just run around with a sword again, like I do in every other game? So I was like, let me try this mage thing, and I made it like fucking like 50 hours into the game, and I was like, I'm over this. So I literally started a new character, and this time I went samurai, and I like just looked up this like build. I did like I think they called it like a blazing samurai. I use. I don't know the name of the spell, but I just like enchant my sword with fire. Wait, what's it called?
Blood flame.
Yeah, blood flame. Yeah. So I do that, and then even now I'm like level like 202, and I'm just like, I don't even like this class, so I think I might try to get like the Moonveil Katana and try something different. But I do like playing this melee class over the mage, because with the mage class I was so weak. I could only get hit like once, maybe twice, before I would die. But with the samurai, I'm just running around tanking everything, taking all sorts of hits. And I'm like, this is so easy,
right?
Because it's such a different play style, and I could actually not have to worry about my FP consumption. All I literally have to worry about is just my endurance and not running out of health. So I just feel like playing the melee class is so easy. So I'm just got to level 202, and I'm just kind of taking my time since I've done everything up until Millennia before. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna kind of just try to enjoy it a little more, since I can actually not get so frustrated and get picked off so easy. Because there's so many of these like bigger enemies that I was so afraid of, but now that I can actually take damage, they're nothing.
Yeah, I did. My first playthrough was pretty similar to the first thing that you did. Like I was doing intelligence dex, so I was running. I didn't really know that this was like the cheesy or cheap weapon at the time, but I was using Moonveil and just a staff, and I was literally just doing the exact thing you did. But like I started out the game more focused on dex than int, and because of that, it's like when you start the game, it's really hard to play with magic, because like magic sucks, and you don't have any spells. Like you get all the better spells at the end of the game, and so I focused on dex, and then when I got to like end game content, I started really using both. And at that point, you're a high level, so you can distribute your stats evenly. And then I did a second playthrough with Strength Faith. Have you gotten to Crumbling Farum Azula? That's what that place is called.
Would describe it.
So have you fought the fire giant?
No.
So you get, well, I won't spoil it, but like when you fight that boss, you go to that area.
Okay.
And there's a boss there called Malekith. And I used, for the Strength Faith build, I used his sword with like a seal, like an incantation caster. And like that was super, super fun. And then I finished that playthrough, and I'm kind of just like playing PvP when I have the time. And, if I ever decide I want to suffer more, I'll do another one, but it's so time consuming. I can't do it right now.
Yeah, and I realize that like I have fun with the game, but I realize there's so many other people out there that are better at it than me, because I watched this guy run through the game with only using fists, and and I was like, how is he doing all of this? Because like I said, I'm like right now I'm level 202, and this guy was like, I think like maybe like level 80 with just fists and just beating everybody's ass. And I was like, how is he doing this? I literally have like 120 levels on him, and I'm like decked out with these talismans and everything, but this guy's literally just using fists and still being a badass.
Have you ever listened or heard of a band from around here called Recycled Earth?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
So the drummer of Recycled Earth, he actually beat me twice in PvP, and it just like it hurt my ego so bad. Like it was crazy, because I was just demolishing people all day. And then I think one of us messaged each other. I was like, "Yo, you on?" And I was like, "We just literally just said fight." And I summoned him, and he just destroyed me. And I was just like, "Damn, like it's crazy."
And
from Recycled Earth and Colony, man.
And you guys do like the level 150 like PvP, or how do you do it?
I don't spec down. I don't really know how the scaling works with multiplayer. I'm like level 200 something now. But I was fighting him with a blood build. I was using 2 thorned whips, and I was actually using blood flame magic. So I was like power stancing them. So I had 2 of them. And I had an incantation caster in my left hand. So like I would enchant and like cycle out the 2. And I think he was using like 2, I forget what they're called. It's like I think a Godskin peeler or something. And he had like a different weapon in his left hand, but like the moveset was so strong, he was just countering like everything that I was throwing at him. I was like, fuck, this sucks.
He was just ready for you.
Yeah, I know, man.
Now, I'm curious, did you see Elon Musk revealed his Elden Ring build?
No, I did not.
Okay, I have the tweet pulled up. Somebody called Kangaroo asked Elon Musk, and I don't even know, like I didn't even look through the whole thread. I just saw the tweet where they asked about his build. They just asked Elon, like, what class build of Elden Ring are you playing, sir? Appreciate your wisdom struggling with mage. And then Elon Musk replied, and he said, int dex build, so mostly mage with some weapon skills, shield in left hand, staff in right, with rapier and claws, fast switch, change armor from heavy to medium for fast roll or tank, move talismans around a lot, many small hits in a row to damage stack is important, summon. Dude,
what a maniac. I wonder if he knows. He probably knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. But he's Elon Musk.
That's pretty funny. Holy shit, I had no idea.
Yeah, it's crazy to the like one of the richest men in the world, the owner of Twitter, is playing Elden Ring and actually talking about it with knowledge. It's pretty funny.
What a time that we are existing in.
It's interesting because someone of his stature is like, where does he have time to play Elden Ring? In between running, like
probably one of the busiest businessmen.
Yeah.
In the world, and like he's just like, oh yeah, I'm just casually playing Elden Ring and making a perfect build to just tell on some Twitter profile.
Yeah, and with confidence, right? Because people, and I see people trying to like talk shit about his build, but it's just like people just always want to find something negative with whatever he's doing, which is fine.
Yeah. I'm pretty Switzerland on Musk. I can't really find a valid opinion, bad nor good, on the guy.
Well, he's yet to go full villain, right? So I think only time will tell. But I think right now, I'm a fan.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way. It's like he gets a ton of hate that I see a lot.
Yeah.
But like I can find good points with the guy. I can find bad points with the guy. It's really all I got. I'm not I don't follow him or his news too much, but.
Yeah, but I feel he's just obviously he has a lot of cool shit going on, but he's a human being. Nobody's perfect. We're all gonna make mistakes. We're gonna stumble. But what's important is how you recover from that, and just how you are just as a person in general, right?
Yeah.
So I try not to hold people to just like a certain mistake that they've made for the rest of their life. I like to see growth, and I like to believe people can change. Some people don't, but I like to believe that everyone has it in them to make change if they want to.
I would like to drive a Tesla. I've never driven one, and that's like the only thing I can really think of in regards to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe in the future when we're all implanted with his you've heard about that, right? His little chip that he's working on to implant in your brain.
Dude, we might be doing this podcast, and then 2 years from now, we're all just going to be fucking robots. So thank you, Jamie.
But it's called Neuralink, and
Neuralink.
Yeah, look into it. It's pretty interesting. It's supposed to help you just have more access in your brain to more bandwidth to be able to access shit faster, and and Elon Musk said that like it's going to get to the point where we won't even have to speak to communicate.
No, bro, no.
Sign me up, bro.
I don't like that one bit, man.
You don't see where all this is going? He's going to help usher us into the new age where we turn into aliens and AI is going to take over.
Dystopia, man.
Yeah,
Crazy.
just let me live to see Street Fighter 6 and and play it for a little bit, and then I'll be okay.
Another series I never got into was Street Fighter.
You know, I can understand why people wouldn't get into fighting games, but for me, I just kind of fell into it when I was young. I had this uncle, rest in peace, and my cousin. They were just back then. They were so badass at Street Fighter in my mind, but I would whip their ass these days. They wouldn't even stand a chance because I actually know how to play now. But it was always just such a cool bonding thing for me growing up, is playing those types of games with my family.
Yeah.
And I just always had fun because like my older cousin, his name's Alfie. He's like an older brother to me. So we would always play every fighting game like growing up together. So like, you know, from Street Fighter to Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct. So it was always just something that I was always attracted to, just fighting. So these days I'm way more knowledgeable, know how to play them better. And it was due to my friends being better than me. Like my buddy Nate, who's still really into fighting games, he would like whoop my ass at shit, and I was like, I can't do this. I gotta get better. But it got to the point where I learned how to actually play these games and get better, and they don't even want to play me anymore.
Yeah, I have a bunch of friends that were into Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm. Look at this. This is how serious I am about it. Like this is what I rock with.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's funny you show that. Like he brought me to this place called Round One.
Oh, we have those out here.
Yeah, it's a chain.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was a chain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. He brought me out there, and literally he sat down at the arcade, like the Street Fighter, like whatever number it was, arcade, and played me. Then he sat there, and like people were coming around us,
Mm-hmm.
and like we were making bets and just like doing this like public tournament in Round One that we literally just started by sitting down and just like playing each other. Like people were coming up and like, yo, let me play you. And it was crazy. There was like a crowd there like cheering for him. It was wild.
Yeah, that's old school. That's how it used to be before the internet and Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. That's what you had to do if you wanted to face real competition. Go down to your local arcade, put up your quarter, and get in line, and feel the pressure. It was always fun. I felt like those days I didn't really get to really experience it too much because I was very young. But I do remember going to the arcade and just getting yelled at for not putting my quarter on the machine to kind of hold my place in line, and then waiting like 40 minutes to play a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 just to get my ass beat in like 30 seconds. But I feel like all those experiences just kind of led me to still have this love for those types of games and play them to this day. Like I bought King of Fighters 15, which came out recently. I still play Street Fighter 5. If anybody out there wants to smoke, I will play you. And yeah, I play every type of fighting game. I love Tekken, even the anime fighters, which I suck at. Dragon Ball Z fighters.
Yeah. I played like Budokai 3 when that was out, and
Okay.
when I was a kid. Like, I never really. I tried watching the series as a kid, but I never like got invested in it for some reason. But I always loved the games. I thought they were really fun.
That's interesting because those games retold the Dragon Ball Z story so many times. Like it kind of not like ruined it, but like whenever I play like a new Dragon Ball Z game, I'm like, fuck, I have to go through the story again that I've seen a million times in so many different forms. Because like I the most recent Dragon Ball Z game I played was Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, that RPG, and you're literally going through the Dragon Ball Z story, and I'm just like, dude, I've done this a million times.
Dude, I'm so upset right now because I just went to go pull you out my copy of Budokai 3 and it's missing.
Somebody traded it into your local GameStop. It's over.
Dude, what the hell? Oh man, that sucks. That just bummed me out.
I think it's crazy. So you still buy physical games?
Not really anymore, because like I have a PC now, so I bought Elden Ring on PC.
Mm-hmm.
I have like a few other games. I have like Destiny and Halo on it. I actually only buy physical games for the Switch now. I have Dark Souls Remastered, Fire Emblem Three Houses, some Pokemon games. Tony and I from all the bands that we were in, we are huge Pokemon fans.
Mm-hmm.
So like when we first started playing together, we were both playing a lot. So I'd be like texting him at midnight, being like, "Yo, I need you to evolve my Magmar. Are you up?" And it would take him like 30 minutes, or he's like, "Yes." And I'm just like trying to fucking use our 3DS to trade with Pokemon at midnight.
That's crazy. Do you ever watch the Pokemon anime?
I mean, maybe I have the Pokemon first movie VHS, like anime, and like, that's how long it's been going on, right? It's been going on for the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I have like the first movie, like Celebi, the movie based around like all the old ones, but I never really watched newer episodes of it.
Okay. Yeah, they're about to start a new season, which is like supposed to be like pretty badass.
Word. Okay. Is it like? I mean, I'm sure it's so much different now than it was in the 90s, like how it was.
Yeah, but obviously, like you got to think too that it's like, you know, there's so much story because like they're bringing back like so many people from the past because it's like it's like this like championship series, so they're bringing back like some of these like you know like older trainers, like people that I'm not even familiar with. I just saw this thing on TikTok where this guy was he sold me on watching this new series. They should pay this guy on TikTok for getting me interested, but it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, they do all the companies do like current anime like that with such a good job, and there's like so many characters. Like if you think about all the fucking Pokemon games that have been out from now till whenever, like think about how many like gym trainers, like champions, just like recurring NPC characters that are in the game. It's like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, your favorite type of Pokemon?
Like probably water.
Water. Why water?
I feel like all my favorite starters are water Pokemon.
Really?
And yeah, for that reason.
Even Totodile?
Dude, Feraligator's fucking awesome. Don't talk shit about Totodile, man. Come on.
Okay. See, I'm a huge fan of fire, so you know.
Opposite end of the spectrum. I like fire as well, but water's just personal favorite. I think my first starter in the game series, like I'm younger than you, so I mean I had the movies and I watched the show as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
but my first Pokemon game that I ever really got into and played like a lot. I mean, I had Pokemon Snap and like Pokemon Stadium for the Nintendo 64,
Mm-hmm.
but probably the first game that I like my kid brain could really focus on was Sapphire, and Mudkip was like my first real starter.
That was for GBA, right?
Yeah, Game Boy Advance. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Damn, Sapphire. Okay, yeah, because I started with and this is like, you know, like I wasn't like well off when I was younger, so I had to share with my cousin.
Yeah.
And he bought red. So we would just kind of, you know, share red back and forth. But then he turned into a villain and bought blue. So I was like, okay. I was like, I'll keep red. You can go play your blue, which was fine. And then Sapphire. So yeah, Pokemon Silver came out when was it Silver next? I'm trying.
Yeah, Silver and
gold. Yeah. Okay, yeah, because I'm like in my brain, I'm like trying to go by like the cartridge shape.
Right. I think there was like Crystal in between it or something, but Crystal's like rare.
And I didn't I didn't have Ruby or Sapphire. I got Emerald.
Yeah, like how the business model works, I guess, is like they do the first two, and then they have like a hidden legendary, and then the hidden legendary gets the next game.
Yeah, Rayquaza was one of my favorite Pokemons for like a long time.
Dude, he's dope. He's dope as fuck. You get Alpha Sapphire and Mega Ruby?
No, I actually don't own any Nintendo systems right now.
Oh shit! Yeah, no. If you do, man, like if you finished Emerald, you'll love Omega Ruby. I know they're old now, but they did like a pretty cool homage to it. Like, yeah, it's a traditional remake in a lot of ways, but they added a lot of like cool swan songs to it, which is awesome. Yeah,
like I didn't like I played like Sword and Shield, but I didn't really like it too much. I was like,
I just sold it. I just traded it in.
Okay.
Didn't finish it. I sold that and I sold Sun. Never finished Sun.
Is that the new one?
Didn't really catch me.
Is that the newest one?
Oh
no, wait. You're talking about like Sun and Moon?
No, I traded Sun and Moon and never finished them. Then I got Sword.
Mm-hmm.
I played that. I liked it. But I think I just needed money, so I brought it back. But I have whatever the 4th gen remake, Shining Pearl or Brilliant Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
I got that and I played the whole thing. I like the 4th gen a lot. I played that as a kid.
Did you ever play Pokemon Go?
Yeah. When holy shit. Yeah, when it first came out, we would go to this college called Vassar and just walk around like fucking aimlessly, look really dumb and play it.
That's we used to play it because out here at Disneyland there was always like hella Pokestops and gyms just inside Disneyland.
I didn't even think of that. What a cool place to play that.
Mm-hmm. So me and my friends would play, and it was super active, so it was always easy to do the raids and whatever, because there was always like millions of people around. And I got a shiny Mewtwo, which was like probably like my best thing that I ever did. And then I don't know what happened. Maybe I missed like a login update or account update, but I can't remember the login to my Pokemon Go, so I'm not able to play it. And like I've tried the 2 different ways that they provide you to log in, but they say my email doesn't exist in their system, so I have no way of finding my account. But my theory is they don't want me to have that shiny Mewtwo, so they X'd me out.
You know what I think is funny looking back on that is like it's probably it's still a game, right? It's still like it's like trying to convince everybody around you that you're not a fucking batshit lunatic just walking around like looking everywhere and just like being extremely confused and like walking random spots.
Yeah.
So, like I always thought that was pretty funny.
It was weird when we would do it like actually like out in the wild, like we'd be at like some random park and we'd see like other people playing. You're like, oh, this is cool. But then when we like switched over to just doing it at Disneyland, it was always like you would see like the people with like the 4 cell phones walking around with the battery packs, and I'm like, okay, that's
that's extra, bro.
Yeah,
that's some extra shit.
That's really excessive. I was like, I'm just like, I was always like super casual with it. Like my friends were always the ones who were like, there's a raid, like we gotta go, we gotta get this special move, it's only out this weekend. And I'm like, all right, like let's go. Like I'll try, because they were out there buying like raid passes and stuff, and I'm like, I don't like it that much to want to actually spend like real money.
My landlord, for some reason, like there's like the teams, right? Like they're the three teams.
Mm-hmm.
She has like, or landlady, I guess, she has the blue team on the back of her car.
Oh, that's like Team Mystic, right? Yeah, Mystic.
Yeah, like a sticker. I always wanted to go up to her and be like, yo, you're Pokemon Go ahead. But I never did.
Yeah, she might want to get all crazy if you're on Instinct or Valor. She might freak out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm not on the wrong side.
That's crazy. Well, all right. Well, Tyler, this has been awesome. I appreciate you coming on to talk about Means of Survival and Elden Ring. I hope everybody who got this far into the podcast, goes and checks out the band's EP and anticipate all the new merch, the shows, because the music's awesome. I will repeat that again. I think the new music's sick, and I hope everybody enjoys it as much as I did. But before we sign off, is there anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely probably are going to lose everybody up to this point that hasn't played a video game. But I mean, shout out to everything that's going on over here. AOA is killing it. Mind Force, obviously. End of One is coming back, which is really cool. They're from like my area.
Yeah, I saw that flyer.
Yeah, that's cool. It's like really, really awesome how they're coming back.
What's up with the Hudson Valley Red? I didn't know that was a thing.
Hudson Valley Red?
Yeah, I saw. I think it was Kyle posting about he used the Hudson Valley Red for the flyer, and I was like, oh, is that?
I think it's maybe a reference to a lot of old bands around here use that color scheme and kind of layout.
Okay.
Like kind of all out war, End of One, old old covers.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to guess, but I to be honest with you, I actually don't even know.
Right.
But if I had to guess, probably like that, like there's a band like One Last Sin. A lot of older like death metal hardcore crossover bands use like that kind of art style and layout.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably what that's in reference to. But yeah, shout out to all the bands like coming up now. Torture Chamber, check out Torture Chamber, check out War Crimes, Big Shot. Big Shot are going to kill it. I don't know if you've ever listened to them before, but they're good.
I'll check them out.
Yeah, their new stuff sounds like Desperate Measures Leeway, and like meets like Carry On or something. There's a lot of good influence in that band. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, thank you again for your time. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll be back soon.